Today, we're diving into the current polling averages across all 50 states, giving you the clearest possible picture of where Kamala Harris and Donald Trump stand on the path to the crucial 270 electoral votes. With just 2 days left until Election Day, these averages are our final indicators. No new polling will shift this map after today. All major polls are in, and this is our last chance to review them and see which states could swing the election. Let's dive into the map and analyze where each candidate stands, beginning on the West Coast in Washington, where Kamala Harris leads by 22%, similar to Biden's margin of victory. The state will turn pure blue. In Oregon, however, we only have one poll from Hoffman Research, a Republican internal, though Harris still shows a 5-point lead. Although this is somewhat alarming in terms of margins, Harris is likely in good shape. Anything over 15% is solid, 15% is likely, 15% is lean, and any margin less than 1% will cause tilt. In California, despite Biden winning the Golden State by 29 points 4 years ago, Kamala Harris is actually ahead by just 23.7. This is her native state, where she was California's Attorney General and a U.S. Senator for 4 years before her vice presidential appointment. Next is Nevada, our first swing state. Trump leads here by an average of 1%. Two recent polls have placed him ahead by 6, which is shocking for Democrats. The latest New York Times poll, however, shows Harris up by 3. Nevada has been competitive over the past few months, and although it's close between Harris and Trump with only 2 days left, Trump has taken a slight lead. No Republican has won here since 2004, so Nevada will be lean Republican with a 1-point lead in favor of Trump. In Arizona, another fiercely competitive state, Trump leads by 2.9%. Biden won Arizona by only 0.3% in 2020, which was the first Democratic win here since 1996. However, Trump appears likely to bring the state back under Republican control. His lead has gotten smaller as the election draws near, so Arizona will also be leaning toward Trump. In Colorado and New Mexico, both states Biden carried by double digits in 2020. Harris leads by lower margins. In Colorado, she leads by 11.5%, in New Mexico by 6.7%. Both are likely to stay blue, but the margins are not as strong as in the previous election. Turning to Texas, this is a major prize for Trump, who must win it by at least 6 points to remain competitive. Polls initially indicated he would only win by 1, but he now leads by 7.2% in recent polling, making Texas solid red. Trump could win by 10 points or more if the polls understate him. In the middle of the nation, states like Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, North and South Dakota, Kansas, and Oklahoma are all solidly Republican. Nebraska at large and its 1st and 3rd districts will also be safe for Republicans. In Nebraska's 2nd district, Harris leads by 10 points. The district has been redrawn to favor Democrats more than it did 4 years ago, making it likely blue. Alaska and Hawaii will also be straightforward. Alaska is solid red, and Hawaii is solid blue. Moving to the Midwest, where the election will likely be decided, Trump will inevitably dominate the Sun Belt. However, he will need to win one of the 3 former Blue Wall states, Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania, to reach 270 electoral votes. Harris, on the other hand, must win all 3. Starting in Minnesota, Harris's performance doesn't match Biden's from 2020. Biden carried Minnesota by 7.1%. Harris only leads by about 3%. Even with Tim Walz as her running mate, she has struggled to secure a stronger lead. Kamala Harris's performance in the running mate's hometown has been rather poor. She has never led by more than 7 points and is unlikely to do well elsewhere on the map, particularly in the Midwest. If she cannot surpass Biden's performance in the state of her vice presidential candidate, she should worry about Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. For now, Minnesota will be lean blue. In Iowa, Donald Trump has been under some pressure. The latest Ann Seltzer poll with the Des Moines Register shows Harris at 3%, highlighting issues with crosstabs. Abortion ranks highest among voter concerns here, not typical economic or immigration issues. An Emerson poll taken one day later, however, shows Trump winning by 10%, which aligns more with recent trends. Iowa has trended rightward over the past cycles, with Trump expected to secure his largest margin there. Iowa is likely red based on the polling average. In Wisconsin, Harris has a slight lead in recent polls, with the New York Times and Marist College polls showing her up by 2. Trump led in late October, but as we enter November, Harris holds a marginal advantage. Yet, Wisconsin polls have historically overstated Democratic support. Harris's current 0.3% lead may not be significant, so Wisconsin will be tilt blue. Michigan follows, where Harris's standing has slightly improved, though the latest New York Times poll shows a tie. Her lead is now 0.6%. Past polling inaccuracies in Michigan reveal similar trends, as Clinton led by 5 in 2016 but lost. Now descending into the South, this is where we will complete the map. Trump will rule this area, most of which he will readily win. Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, and South Carolina. We then have 4 more rather competitive states left. Starting up top in Virginia, the vice president leads just 5.8%. She wants not here but somewhere else. Most recent polls have her barely 2 points ahead. Her average is barely half of Biden's margin from 2020 when he carried the state by 10.1%. With a Republican governor set for 2021, Virginia has been moving to the right. Democrats are therefore the minor favorites, even if they clearly have a lot to worry about here. Virginia will probably turn blue. Additionally, rather dominant in North Carolina, where he leads by 1.5%, is Trump. Though he lost by 1.3%, is quite different from 2020, when the polling data projected a Biden triumph. Actually, North Carolina is the only one of the 7 battleground states Trump actually prevailed against the incoming president 4 years ago. He is definitely going to triumph in North Carolina once more. Just study the poll distribution here. In practically every single one of them, he leads by quite noteworthy margins. Also, he has kept a lead in the polling average throughout the 2024 cycle. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden never led in any sense. Trump is going to triumph in the Tar Heel state 3 times running. Trump is ahead by just over 1 point. North Carolina will be lean red. Down in Georgia, this is yet another state where Trump is just ruling. Harris won't be able to prevail. Really, she cannot replicate Joe Biden's success from 2020, as he became the first Democrat to triumph over Peach State since 1992. Kamala Harris is going to lose Georgia. Thus, this race, which was the closest of the year, will be remembered as a fluke. Even though Joe Biden's triumph is historic, her polling average shows her behind by 2.3%. Trump is behind just one current poll, which the New York Times conducted. Once more, they consistently produce the most left-leaning polls available. Harris is most likely losing by at least 2 if she is leading by 1. Georgia unquestionably supports Trump. Just consider how his lead has developed over the past few months, particularly as we approach the last half of October and arriving now into November. Though Georgia voted for Joe Biden by a very small margin 4 years ago, it is still fundamentally a Republican state with a generally conservative outlook. Trump will be reclaiming Georgia this time, and it will also be lean red. Finally, and least importantly, Florida is the last state on our map to fill in. Looking at the polls, Trump is in quite a good position. It is the one that gets either Trump or Harris over 270. He leads with 8.5%. This is amazing in comparison to what we observed in 2016 and 2020. Clinton scored 0.9% 8 years ago. She missed Florida by 1.2%. In 2020, Joe Biden led by 1.4%. He lost by 3.4%. Therefore, the actual results differ greatly from the polling figures, and they consistently support Trump far more than the polls do. Today, if Trump is leading by almost 10 points, he might even reach that double-digit margin, but it is most likely Republican no matter what. Trump isn't down in Florida. It will be by his biggest margin ever, and he will readily win it a third time. This is thus the electoral map for 2024, derived from final poll results from every single state. With 287 electoral votes, Donald Trump is on a path for triumph. Kamala Harris has 251, while she is only likely to hang on to Wisconsin and Michigan. Trump is going to turn Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, and Pennsylvania to ensure triumph. It is close, as they usually do. I now do expect these polls to somewhat overestimate Democrats. Trump will, of course, do far better than Iowa's lean margin of success. Additionally, he might possibly win Michigan and Wisconsin, though I wouldn't be surprised if Virginia was more competitive as well. Right now, the polling results regularly show Trump ahead. He is positioned powerfully to reclaim the presidency, though a win is a win. It is most likely not going to be by a landslide margin. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with more election coverage as we count down to November 5th. See you next time.